I'm going to be comparing two external enclosures for NVMe drives, and at the end I'll give you some specs on speed and temperature. Okay, so here's a side-by-side comparison of what they look like. Both of them are obviously open, and here is the NVMe stick. Okay, so make sure you hit subscribe and like, because my next video is going to be using this Wavelink enclosure for NVMe drive. So I'm going to install this Western Digital into the Wavelink after I screw this onto my old G-Tech hard drive. So this is what was in it before. I had an SATA drive, so I gutted everything out, and I'm gonna use some silicone glue to take this cable to the Wavelink and use this as a external hard drive. I want to just quickly bring in my iPhone here just to give you a relative size, because after all, these are portable external hard drives, so you're going to be carrying them around with you. How big it is, so as you can see, and then the thickness like that compared to my iPhone. Let me do the weight comparison with my iPhone. So my iPhone weighs in at 226 grams. Now let me weigh the Wavelink. So it's 138 grams. Okay, so this is the TERRAMASTER. Okay, it's 255 grams. Okay, so here is my Samsung EVO 990 Plus. So this is the one that I'm going to put in this case, and let me show you the inside of this case. So this is the Wavelink, and what I don't like about it is it just pops right off. There's no screws or anything. This socket here, where the SSD goes into, does get very hot, but there is a fan somewhere in there. And this thing is so brittle, as you can see here, that if you screw it in and you over tighten it and you put some torque on it, either one of the solder joints is going to break loose or it's just going to crack in half. This is not what it comes with. This is something that I bought after the fact. So if you are going to, spend the money to buy one of these NVMe drives, definitely get ads, and you'll get a variety of them, and they come in different thickness. So what you want to do is when you place this in, if you can see, it's uneven, right? But you want it to be touching every piece of the casing so it can distribute the heat. And I'm going to show you that right now because I'm going to install it with no thermal pad or silicon pad, and then we'll see how far the temperature gets. Now if it gets too hot, then I'm just going to shut it down. Okay, so this is without any silicon pad. I don't know if you can see underneath, but there's a space under it, which obviously there should not be. You want contact with as much material, whether it be aluminum or the bottom PC board. I'm going to keep an eye on the temperature very closely because, like I said, there is no insulation right now. Laser light is. It's already up to 96 degrees. So you can see how quickly it gets hot. I mean, now it's 97. So this is right at the junction of the socket on the PCB. Ooh, 110. I think I'm going to shut this thing down. Okay, so the reason I'm shutting it down isn't necessarily the fact that it's hit 110, because it did hit that 110 mark even with the casing of both cases in the past, but it's the rate at which it got to 110. It only took a matter of, I don't know, less than a minute before it got to 110, and that's what concerned me, so that's why I shut it down. Now you can see the inside of it, and I kind of went with extra safety. So I put a bunch of silicon that I showed you earlier, pads, and you have to get a bunch of them. Okay, now this Wavelink has been running for roughly about 15-20 minutes. I've already done a speed measurement. So yeah, there's a hot spot right here, 104. This one, which has a fan, and it's pretty useless, but I'm gonna let you hear it. So there's two vents here, two vents here, and then on the other side there's these two vents, and you can't even feel the fan. Okay, now I'm going to fit the Samsung EVO into this case, the TerraMaster, and I'm going to do this, get it in as carefully as I can without snapping anything. There is a gap, and I need to fill that gap so that the silicon pads make contact with the PC board. And as you can see, this casing, it comes with these two kind of, looks like chewing gum sticks, and they're very thin. There's no way that this thing is going to be able to touch it, because I can just look at the gap here and look at the thickness of the pad that they give you. It's nowhere close. Definitely, you're going to want to get a variety of silicon pads. The problem is, how thick of a pad do I use? Now, I can use a combination of all three. So that's really nice. I can, in any given combination, I think I can accommodate just about any height that this thing has. And then also when the top case goes on. Okay, now I can feel kind of it pinching, and I can't pull it out as I put it in, but it's putting very little pressure. So I think this is what I'm going to go with. There, you can see it. So yeah, it fits really good. I can feel the bottom of the screw hole, and it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of pressure. So that's good, because if there was, it would mean that I'm probably bending this or arcing it and giving it potential to crack. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes, and as you can see, it's still reading like 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It feels hot, but it doesn't feel as hot as when I was using the Wavelink, because when the Wavelink was sitting at a towel, it really was hot. As you can see here, it's pretty stable around 100 degrees. I think what I'm going to do now is apply the thermal contact paste and see if I can improve that. Now, this is really surprising, because I mean, it was reading, as you saw, 100 degrees when the case was closed. But as I'm touching it right now, and it's only been probably at this point maybe 3-4 minutes that I've unplugged it. But let's just take a quick measure of this. Yeah, that's really weird. So yeah, this is not bad. So I don't think at that temperature it's going to ruin the disk. So now that I feel this, I don't know if I need to put the paste. So my conclusion is that this actually protects the SSD better, because it takes the distribution of the heat. My interpretation is that the hotter the exterior, in this case the fins, the hotter it gets, the cooler the SSD is, because what it's doing is sucking up the heat from the SSD. That's why when you saw earlier, when I opened up this case, the SSD was cool. I mean, it was cooler than the case even. So that's what's kind of changed my mind. Yeah, so I'm going to kind of summarize everything in a chart. Okay, so here's a summary of everything that I've measured. The thing that stood out to me was the data rate. In both cases, both enclosures, the data rates are very similar, almost identical actually across the board. But the other thing I've noticed is the Wavelink runs about a few degrees hotter than the TerraMaster D1. Now, it depends a lot on the surface that you place the enclosures on. If you're on the couch and you place it next to you on the sofa on a cloth, it runs really hot. But if you place the enclosures on a tabletop, then it runs significantly cooler. I would say plus or minus 5 degrees either direction. And yeah, so here's the data, and thank you for watching.